Hello, my name is Priscilla, and today I'm going to talk about how was my birth process and knowing that my babies wouldn't be alive, but I had a natural delivery like any other mom that usually are expecting to come out with their babies out of the hospital, but that wasn't my case. So when we went to the hospital on December 16th, that was my birthday, and it was a little emotional for me, plus because I knew what would happen. I knew that I wouldn't come back home with the babies. I had all of the baby stuff in the house, all of the stroller, the mama hose, I had the swings, and our parents, they took it out. We asked to take it out of the house for them to store it somewhere because it would be very, very emotional for me to get back home and seeing all of that and not having a baby with me, my baby's with me, and that it was very hard. It would be very hard, we knew it. So when they booked that for December 16, again, it was my birthday, so I didn't want to make any correlation with the bad that was happening. I would be losing 2 children. I didn't want to make a correlation with my birthday, so we celebrated my birthday a day before.
Happy birthday to you. Happy birthday to you. Happy birthday, dear.
And we had fun. We went to a golf, top golf with friends, and we had some fun. I forgot a little, and then we went to the hospital on the next day. We packed everything, we're there. Then we're in a room, it's a huge room, my husband and I. And the first process was to monitor the baby's heartbeat. And I had 2 monitor up here and 1 down here. And then they were monitoring my contractions because I was having preterm contractions already. And then they placed a pill in my vagina so it could dilate, so I could start the labor process. Then they checked in 4 hours after to see if everything was moving the way it should be moving. So I guess I was 3 centimeters dilated already. But it wasn't enough, so they're like, oh, we have a suggestion, or we can do the balloon, which they place a balloon, it's empty, and then they place in the vagina, and then they fill it up, so it's like on the cervix, so it can dilate it. So it was like, it is painful, just let me know, like, if you're feeling too much pain, so we can do the epidural. That was something that I wanted to do. I just knew that as soon as I would do the epidural, I wouldn't be able to go to the bathroom. I wouldn't be able to stand up, which, like, I feel like when you are able to stand up and move your body, kind of like get things moving, especially because the babies were not healthy. So plus that, usually when the babies are healthy, I suppose that they kind of help their way out to like make room, and then like they get in the right position so they can come out, but the babies wasn't healthy. And I waited, I felt so much pain. I think I was in 2 hours of so much pain with that balloon in there. And then I finally called the nurses to say, hey, I need the epidural, I'm feeling so much pain. And then I guess the person, the anesthetist, I don't know how to say this name right, they were not there, so it took a long time for them to arrive. And in the morning, I guess that was at night, so in the morning, I guess the balloon came off, and then they did the epidural. And I was just like hoping that everything would be fine, because I heard horrible stories with epidural. So I'm like, everything is fine, everything is fine. I was in a position that you need to be like this. And everything went fine, thank goodness, everything went fine. It was just so easy, it didn't really hurt, the epidural. I feel like because I was in so much pain, everything else was happening, that the epidural was just like, It was just a tiny thing. And then I started not feeling my legs and everything, but I was able to still feel the contraction. So, and then the doctor came in, checked on the balloon, tried to pull it out. I think at that time it didn't come off yet, or it did, I don't remember. But the balloon, as soon as that it came off, they're checking how many centimeters I was dilated. So I guess 5 or 6, something like that. After that, the doctor said we're gonna have to poke the amniotic fluid of Ellie, baby A. So I knew that as soon as they did that, they poked the amniotic fluid, baby A, with the problem in the back of the neck, the head, baby A wouldn't survive. So I knew that, and there was nothing I could do. So they poked it, and then it came that much water out on the bed. I remember it was so messy. So, and then hours later, I think 6 or 7 hours later, or 5 hours, I started to feel moving, because they said that when you're in the birth process, you feel like you have the urge to poop, and it's like pressing in the back. So I was laying down, and I remember I'm like, oh, I'm feeling that, telling my husband I'm feeling something, the pressure, and he was like, oh, you should call the nurse. And I'm like, oh, but I'm not sure if it's here yet. So I was like, he was like, you need to call the nurse. And then I pressed the button and I called the nurse and was like, oh, I think the baby's on the way. And then it was, when they came in, baby A was already on the way, because baby A was lower, baby B was here, Sophie was here. And then after that, I pushed. The doctor like took like 15 minutes to get there, because he lived closer. He was like already, it was around 7 p.m. when everything started. So the rooms just started to fill in, because they never seen anything like that. All of that was just like a new case. Even the doctor that was talking with us about it, he was like, in all of my years working here, I've never seen anything like this. When my secretary printed out the forms and all of your information to me, I thought that she did a mistake or something, because he could not believe that all of the problems was happening just with those 2 babies and all at once. It was just too much going on all at once. And then they had like a bunch of doctors there. They had all the neonatology. They're supposed to help the baby after all, because we decided to not do any aggressive intervention. We just want to numb the baby's pain after all. So, and then I pushed baby A. I was at 27 weeks, so babies were not relatively small, but my belly was already in full term. When I pushed baby A, it was easy to come out. I wasn't in a lot of pain, but I could feel everything still. I don't know if the anesthesia wasn't working well, but I couldn't really feel a lot of pain, but I was feeling everything. You know, it was painful. Baby A wasn't, until I got a baby B. So when I was pushing, after Ellie came out, it was Sophie's turn, and her amniotic fluid was still intact, the bag was still intact. So I just remember when I pushed really hard, and then the bag exploded, and the doctor that was in front of me, he was just like, he took a shower, like you can laugh, it was horrible. It was just like so much. It's messy, right? So, and then after that, I pushed. I think it took 5 minutes for me total, or like 6 minutes, I'm not sure. or maybe it was less than that, I really don't remember. But it was harder for me to push Sophie because her head was too big. And then after she came out, I remember just seeing her body. She was very cute. She looked like a little alien. And then I saw everything was kind of like blurry. It's like a movie. I couldn't explain. Then they got all the babies ready for us, and then they put them in the cute little heads. And I guess Eleanor, she already passed. That she passed well. She was waiting in there and not coming and not coming. So and then they told us, oh, Ellie passed, but Sophie's still alive. They just gave her some pain medication so she didn't feel any pain. And then they had, do you want to hold the babies? They asked me, and then I said yes, I want to hold the babies. So I held both of the girls. I'm gonna try to find a photo. It was just such a confusing feeling. I did not know how to feel. I did not know, because I was so happy to finally meet them, but I didn't really spend too much time with Ellie because she already was dead, and we were just trying to spend as much time that we could with Sophie. And while my husband was holding Ellie, I was holding Sophie, and I just could see her face, and then she wasn't moving because of the pain med, but I just could like hear her breathing like very deeply, and she was just like, and then done, and then she would do that in every like 2 minutes. And then when I gave her to my husband to hold her, and I said, no, you can hold her, because she was the only one alive still. And he was like, no, you hold her, I don't want to hold her. I'm like, you have all the right to hold your daughter, she's alive, and you're gonna regret this later. Hold her, and I can hold Ellie in the meantime. And then after that, he told me that Sophie passed away on his arms, and that he even told me, I was there, we were by ourselves, like while we were doing the baptism too. We called the pastor to come in to do the baptism of the girls after we had our time with them. So he just was like, oh, Pri, I think Sophie passed in my arm. I just like heard her breathing, and then she's like cold now. And I'm like, that's awful. Like I did not know what to say. I'm like, it was just silence most of the time. And that was it. We had a relief, but we had pain at the same time. Relief that everything we knew what would happen. They're dead. So what after this? We don't know. But just to know that there wouldn't be suffering anymore, that was a huge relief. And then we call our parents in. They came in to see the girls, and then they held her. We took some photos of them, and then we stayed with them by ourselves again to say our goodbyes. And then we had a little crib, the portable one, and then we placed the girls in there. And then she was like, the nurse came in and she was like, oh, take as much time you want like them to sleep here with you guys. And we're like, no, we don't want like to sleep, the babies are like dead, we don't want that. I feel like it's time for us to turn the page. And I remember just like saying goodbye to them, and then I even remember telling my husband, oh, I don't think I kissed Ellie. So he brought her back to me. I kissed her. I already kissed Sophie, and I put them back in there. He put them back in there, and then the nurse came and she was like, are you sure you don't want to see the girls anymore, because like this is like permanent, we're gonna take them and not coming back, blah blah. And I'm like, yes, we're sure, we're already said our goodbyes, and then they went away. And that was the last time we saw them. And after that, we had just a huge relief. It's like a peace. And I remember, I don't know how to explain. We just were like, okay, I guess they just came here. They're little angels, and they spend a little time with us. And they moved and they changed us so much. And it was just a brief moment. 7 months. And they taught me so much. I appreciate life so much more than I've always appreciated life, because I came from zero, nothing, small town, so poor, and I moved to the US, and I started to achieve things very fast. And I've always looked back and then I thought, wow, I didn't have any of this, and look how I have all of this, and this is so amazing, this is so thrilling. And I've always been appreciative, but this is different. The way I'm appreciative now, it's like we're able to talk and have a communication right here. I'm able to pass through the story and to tell the story that we have been through, and I can communicate clearly. I hope so. I'm able to speak in a second language. I'm able to drive. I'm able to walk. I'm able to cook a food. I'm able to do everything that I can do, and we take that so for granted, and we shouldn't. We're breathing and we're not thinking about it, and that's just. And now I look at every little children that has Down syndrome, and I think so much like of our daughters, and how those parents that have children that are special, they're definitely special parents to have special children, because it takes so much. It takes unconditional love for you to love your children fully, no matter what the challenges are. And that takes another level of a human being to raise a child with disability. And I am so grateful that I am walking here, everything functioning perfectly. And also the lesson of not controlling things, living life and not trying to stop the flow, which is the natural flow of life. And it wasn't clear for me, because I grew up in such an unpredictable environment that I couldn't predict anything. I was abused when I was younger, and all of that shaped my head in a weird way. And when I was finally able to control things, wanting to control things, I did. I was trying to control, and then I found out until that I couldn't control. Plus the perfectionism. I have always been a perfectionist person, very, very much so. Not accepting myself, not loving myself. It has been a challenge, and every day I'm learning a little more how to love myself. And telling you now the story and being able to give someone else a different perspective in life, this is just another challenge that I have been overcoming. I've always wanted to come here to YouTube and actually share the word, everything that I want to say, because I feel every human interaction, it is a lesson. And plus the self-love. I have been learning that I do not need to be anything to be good, to be loved. I am loved no matter what I do, no matter how I look like. I am loved, and you are too. So just be grateful. Be grateful for everything that you have. And now I am able to see a different life. I'm able to see that there's so much ahead of me that I wasn't looking before. I was so obsessed and wanting to have a child at 24 years old and not looking ahead life has so much to offer. I have so much potential, and you have to. We don't need to obsess over anything. When the right time comes, it will come, and it will happen naturally. Nothing should be forced. And that has been a huge lesson. I really hope that you understood the message that I want to pass to you. And I hope that you're able to observe this story in a good way, not in a sad way, but as a transformation, a different way of seeing things. And thank you so much for watching this so far. And if you're here until now, God bless you. You are patient. And thank you so much.